Boaz, B-O-A-Z. Boaz was a man of ability and valor, and he was a kinsman or a relative of Naomi. In other words, of Naomi's deceased husband. That's how they were related. Usually, when a woman's husband died without any sons born to them, it was up to her husband's brother to marry her in his place and so keep the man's seed alive via any sons born to them. Of course, in this situation, Naomi's 2 sons had died, and so she needed a near relative to take care of her and of Ruth. Naomi knew of this man, Boaz. And let's turn to page 6 of your handout, and we'll see the progression of how important it is for each one of us. You know, we can think of ourselves as we're reading this record, how Naomi and Ruth and Boaz did what was right in the sight of the Lord, no matter what background they came from, in order to proceed in the right path. The same for us. We should also do what's right in the sight of the Lord God in order to proceed on the right path and be rewarded successfully for our work for Him. On page 6 of your handout, we see that Boaz agreed to be the kinsman in this situation. So in chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, it says, "And Boaz answered and said unto her," and that is unto Ruth, when Ruth asked him regarding her situation, if he would redeem Naomi and herself. He said, "It had fully been showed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law," in other words for Naomi, "since the death of thine husband," Ruth's husband, "and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother, and the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knowest not heretofore." You didn't know them before. And verse 12, "The Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust." Ruth came to trust the Lord God of Israel. She did not go back to her old lifestyle. She moved ahead with the only true God. And she was being rewarded, and Boaz even told her regarding his prayer for her life that the Lord would recompense her work and give her a full reward from God of Israel, under whose wings she had come to trust. So we can also see that Boaz himself was moving ahead in the way that God would want him to behave in this situation. Now let's move ahead to Ruth chapter 3. And we'll look at verse 10. "And he said, Blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast showed more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning, inasmuch as thou followest not young men." She did not go running after young men, even though her husband had died, whether poor or rich. "And now, my daughter, fear not, I will do to thee all that thou requirest. For all the city of my people doth know that thou art a virtuous woman. And now it is true that I am," this is Boaz speaking, "I am thy near kinsman. Howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I." So now we see that Boaz knew of one other relative who might want to redeem Naomi and Ruth instead of Boaz, and he had the right to do so. Then verse 13 says, "Tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning, that if he will perform unto thee the part of a kinsman, if he will do that for you, well, let him do the kinsman's part. But if he will not do the part of a kinsman to thee, then will I do the part of a kinsman to thee. As the Lord liveth, lie down until the morning." So Boaz was letting Ruth know that he will do everything that he's supposed to do, part of which was to recognize that there was this one other near kinsman, one other relative, who had the first right to redeem Naomi and Ruth in this situation. So Boaz did what was right. He did not run in there and try and redeem them because it wasn't his right to do so. Not yet. That first nearer relative had the right to do so. Let's turn to page 7 in your handout and see what happened here in chapter 4. So we see that Boaz did what was necessary to redeem Ruth, providing the genealogy of King David and of Christ, who is called the Son of David. And in verse 9, Boaz said to the elders and unto all the people, Ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's. Why was this? Why was he able to do that? And you're able to read the record in chapter 4. The summary of that would be that once that nearer, closer kinsman realized that he would have to give the land, and not only Naomi and Ruth, but the land into the name of Naomi's husband, he didn't want to do that. He did not want to take on that name. And he rejected the opportunity to buy or to purchase or to redeem Naomi and Ruth and their land. However, Boaz was fully aware of that, and he said, as we can see here in verse 9, he's speaking to the elders, and he said, Ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's. He knew it was Elimelech's, and it would be his name that the land would remain under. And all that was Chilion's and Mahlon's, that are the husbands of the two daughters of the sons of Naomi, of the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife. So Boaz redeemed Ruth, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Boaz was not going to claim that inheritance to be his own. He recognized who it was, and he was standing up to do everything that he needed to do to redeem their situation. And he continues that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren and from the gate of his place. That would mean the gate of his place means a position of prominence among the gate, those who make judgments regarding those inside the city. Ye are witnesses this day